Some people might think that teachers have the easiest job. I mean, what's better than having summers off, right? But what about having to create lesson plans daily or weekly? Or the requirements it takes to even become a teacher? Dealing with difficult parents, difficult students, having to create differentiated learning for those with special needs. What about spending your own money to furbish your classroom and to help provide for your students? Or bringing home papers to grade or creating lesson plans on your nights and your weekends. According to the National Education Association, many teachers will even pick up second jobs during the summer or go back to school to continue their education, such as working towards their master's or their doctorate. And the teachers go back weeks before the students do, so summer vacations are not as long as you think. I myself am a secondary education major and have taken several education courses here at Anne Arundel Community College. I have completed several internships working in the classroom with kindergartners all the way to 7th graders. I have been able to gain knowledge not only from textbooks, but from hands-on experiences working with and interviewing current teachers. Today, I will persuade you that teaching is more than just having summers off and watching children. I will first cover what kind of preparations it takes to teach. Then I will talk about how much teachers spend of their own money on their classrooms and students. Finally, I will cover how they spend hours outside of school completing their work. Imagine a doctor not having a plan for surgery, or a contractor not having blueprints for a house. Lesson plans are just as vital to teachers. They provide that written outline for each and every lesson. John Conan, who is a school principal, wrote about the basic but essential components of weekly lesson plans. Each lesson plan should include the state standards. Writing down the standards helps create a track and keeps track of mastery of topics. Once standards are met, they can adjust to the following year to make sure that they are met the next year. Next is the lesson plan objective. When you state what the students will be able to do after the lesson, it sets a goal for each and every student. Then selecting the right materials for the lesson. It can be simply using the smartboard in a classroom, or it can be a whole classroom transformation. It really depends on how the students learn, and you have to take that into account when selecting your materials. Then you have the assessment. And there is no way around that, testing students. You can do a summative assessment or a formative assessment. It gives data back to the teachers, administrators, curriculum writers, and even the students and their families. And finally, structure. It is important to have structure in individual lessons and for weekly lessons. It provides a nice flow of lessons and activities for the best way for the students to receive and gain knowledge. One of the key factors of the lesson plans was materials. Depending on the lesson and the duration of the lesson, some teachers will make or buy supplies for each lesson to ensure that each student is learning to the best of their ability. So, this takes time and even creativity and money to help provide lessons for these students. Teachers will sometimes have to submit lesson plans for approval. This means that lesson plans have to be submitted weeks in advance. Now that I have informed you about the kinds of preparations teachers will take before teaching, let's cover some of the cost of teaching. According to the New York Times, the Federal Department of Education conducted a survey and found that 94% of teachers spend their own money without any reimbursement in the 2014-2015 school year. From the teachers who gave feedback, $479 were spent on average, and 7% reported spending more than $1,000 on their classrooms. It did not matter where they taught, whether it was the city or the suburbs. They all spent money on their classrooms and provided for their students. Teachers are not only spending money for the classrooms, but for the students themselves. According to ABC News, many teachers have given money to students that did not have money for lunch or transportation home. A lot of the time, school is a safe place for students. They can run away from the problems that they are dealing with at home. And nowadays, financial problems are a significant impact on students' lives. Teachers see this firsthand. and they see their students coming to school every day with the same clothes or without a lunch or proper school supplies. In these cases, many teachers will help these students by buying their lunch or providing a place for them to freshen up every day just so they can learn their best. In Anne Arundel County, a first-year teacher with a bachelor's degree salary starts at $48,422. And if they start with their master's, it jumps up to $51,367. From there, depending on their degree and the years of experience in teaching, their salary goes up. The expenses are endless for teachers, and so is the workload. Now I'm going to help cover the work outside of the workplace for teachers. Jake Miller, who teaches at a middle school in Pennsylvania, wrote an article about exactly what he does during his teacher planning time. There are several tasks he listed: going to the bathroom and emails, which occurred several times. He ate, he met with other teachers, read a book that was going to be incorporated in a lesson next week, graded 37 projects and still had 15 more to go, made copies, moved desks for an activity, and finally, and only once, he wrote lesson plans. Because teachers spend a lot of their time in school for prep doing other tasks that cannot be done outside of school, they often take home work that can be done at home, which takes away from their quality time with their family and their friends. According to teacherdevelopmenttrust.org, only 1/3% of teacher time is actually spent teaching. Another third is also spent on planning and grading, and the rest is spent on working with parents and other teacher management and paperwork. Also, according to Teacher Development Trust, teachers will spend on average 12 hours in the secondary field and 14 hours in the elementary field, working on the evenings or weekends to finish the work that they did not actually complete while at school. Teachers are never fully done working, regardless if the bell rings to the end of the day or the bell rings for the summer vacation. Something will always need to be done. In conclusion, today I have informed you on the concepts of how teachers are underappreciated, and I hope I persuaded you to believe the same. For the extra miles that they go every single day, teachers always have to complete many tasks in preparation for teaching, spend hundreds of dollars on their classroom and students, and spend hours outside of work completing work. Ultimately, teachers are in it for the outcome, not the income, and they realize that. But that does not mean that they should be shortchanged in any way, shape, or form. In the future, I hope to see teachers receive more funding for their classrooms so that way they do not spend more of their own money, they get an increased salary, and people see teachers as highly respected career, not only that people look down on.